Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome, or welcome back to Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom with Carlito and Tom. Sorry, folks, we're here just a little couple minutes late because we had a little bit of technical difficulties. My guest kind of went in and popped out and came back in, so it's all good now. Yeah, so everybody, welcome back to the show. Thank you for being here, everyone. I already see some people in there. I'm probably gonna, let a little bit more people come in. Ben, my guest tonight is Ben Daniels, and he's got a Dogman encounter that he's going to be telling us about, and all about his property and the general area where he lives in. So, Ben, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, Colito?
Good, 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 man. Yes, I'm doing good. I normally do my shows on Saturdays, but due to the fact that you had a couple of things you had to do yesterday, we changed it over to today. But it's all good. It's all good, man. So yeah, Ben, how's the weather in Tennessee, man? Because here in Texas, it's really cold right now, man. It's off and on, but it's pretty much cold. It's like there's no sign of nice weather yet. How's the weather over there in Tennessee, man?
We had snow for a few days, but
Wow.
we're good now. Tennessee can pack 4 seasons into 2 days. The weather here changes really fast.
Yeah, you know what? And I was gonna say that about Texas, bro. I got a couple of people or friends in the cryptid world that live in Texas, and they can vouch for this as well. That here in Texas, man, it seems like we don't have all 4 seasons. It seems like we just have 2 seasons, bro. Like winter and summer. That's it. Like no in between. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's like
yeah,
it goes
yeah.
from hot to cold and from cold to hot. Like we don't have that
hmm
nice weather, that other people have. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, Ben, man, can you give us a brief bio on yourself, brother, please, so the people could get to know you a little bit better?
Yes, I'm from West Tennessee. I
Awesome.
grew up in a small town
Mm-hmm.
on about 4 acres of land in West Tennessee, and I left when I was 18 to go to college and in graduate school, and I lived in Nashville for about 20 years, and just came back recently. And
Mm-hmm.
the property I moved back to is the property that we'll be discussing tonight.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So where you live now is not the actual place where you had your encounter in the old property. Is that what you're saying?
Uh, well, my uncle's renting my parents' property where I had the encounter, but I moved back
Okay.
there, and I recently got married, so
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
living in the property now.
Okay. Congratulations, man.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Cool. Cool. So you just went to visit that, which is now your uncle's property, right?
Yes, so I lived there for several months, and when I got
Mm-hmm.
married, I moved in with my wife. Um, I've lived on that property many times since well, I grew up there, and then I went back, but now I'm not there anymore.
Oh. Okay. Okay. So, right now, where you live now, how long have you been living there?
Right here, I've only been here just a few months. My wife and I recently got married.
Oh, okay. And you bought a house there? I take it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool, man. Awesome. And but your background, I should say, is you grew up in the place where you had the encounter, right? And you lived there for how many years?
Yes. Um, on and off all my life. Uh, Easily over 20. Um, but if we're counting part of the time, for 44 years, it was my parents' property.
Hmm. Wow. So what was it, like 40 years? You saying?
Yes.
Wow, that's a long time, bro. That's a lifetime,
hmm
actually, right? I mean, growing
Right.
up
Yeah.
there your whole life. Yeah.
hmm
Wow, wow, cool, cool, cool. And can you tell us how, like, what the general area is around there? Can you give us a brief description about, the area? Because I know
Sure.
Tennessee's really well known for, for having cryptic sightings and encounters. That's why I
Mhm.
ask. Hmm.
Right. Where I live, it's kind of hilly, but it's near the Delta, the Tennessee River and the Mississippi River,
Mm-hmm.
and um, there's good farmland all around us. But where my parents bought property, it's just really hilly and kind of off by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And there are farms around it, but aside from my parents' garden, that land is completely unfarmable.
Okay. But like you had mentioned to me that that's like a heavily wooded area, right? Where your parents'
Yeah,
property is. So it used to be your
right.
parents' property. Now it's your uncle's, right?
Well, actually, it's mine. I rented it out to my uncle.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay, gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
it's really wooded because it can't really be developed. It's kind of the land in between farmland, and it's very wooded because, well, it couldn't be farmed, and there's no reason to cut trees if you can't plant anything there.
Right, right, right.
Mhm.
Is there any type of rivers or creeks or ravines and such things like that?
Oh yeah, on the property itself, there's a creek.
Mm-hmm.
Within about 2 miles, there's a fairly large river, the Obion. It's a contributary of both the Mississippi and the Tennessee rivers. So yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
really fertile land. Yeah.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, cool, man. Well, thank you for that brief description on yourself and the property as well. Thank you, Benjamin. Okay, well, I'd like to. I guess we can go ahead and start with your Dogman encounter, man. Can you tell us every little detail about it, like what year it happened, the general area and all that?
Sure. Uh, these encounters have happened many times over 32 years. And I guess what's interesting about my encounters is that there have been so many, but none has really been an encounter. It's been mostly just peaceful coexistence.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I ever saw them was about 32 years ago. I bet my dad and I hunted a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad had a weird rule that we couldn't hunt on our property. He said that the animals who lived on our property were like pets. So we could hunt somewhere else, but on our property, he said we could not. But one day I was begging him to go hunting. I mean, I was 12 or 13 or 14, and I wanted to be like my dad. So I begged my dad to hunt. And that day he let us hunt on the property. And we were squirrel hunting and just inside the tree line of our property.
Mm-hmm.
And a coyote got really, really close to us. And my dad told me to fire a warning shot, and I did. And it still kept getting closer. And my dad shot it and let out a really bad howl. And when my dad shot it, I saw two bipedal creatures run up from across the back.
Wow.
And they were just curious. There was no, it was just curiosity. And I sat there and looked one down for a couple of seconds. It looked back at me, and I had a shotgun in my hand, and I didn't move um, because I was too stunned. And after a couple of seconds, it looked back and it just walked away from me. And that was the first encounter, but it definitely wasn't my last.
Right, right, right. Hey, I have a question about the place, the
Mhm.
general area that you live in.
Right.
It's by my good friend Al Sanariga. Let me put it up. Hold on. Here it is. It says, "What mountain range is it near?"
Well, to the west, it would be the Ozark and Wichita Mountains and Arkansas. To the east, it would be the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Awesome, awesome. And also like the encounter. So that was the encounter you had with, and it was with your dad while he was hunting. Well, you asked him to take you hunting. So you mentioned that your dad said that he didn't want y'all to go in the woods hunting or anything like that. Does that mean that he knew what was in there? Like he had seen them before? Do you think?
I think he did. It's taken me a couple of decades actually to
Mm-hmm.
realize we did, but as I've come to understand what was there, some of what my dad said made sense now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize until I got older that that wasn't a hunting rule. That was just my dad trying to keep me from hunting, camping on our property. We hunted and camped in other places, but my dad told me not to do it on our property. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things that happened over the next 20, 30 years let me
Mm-hmm.
know that my dad knew exactly what was there.
Wow. So you didn't know that back then, but you found
No,
out later. Like how many
right.
years later did you find that out, if I may ask?
Um, Probably about the last year because I didn't know what Dogman was until probably the last year.
Mm.
And since I
Okay.
realized that a lot made sense looking back, and a lot of the things my dad said made sense that he knew what was going on there.
Okay. Okay. Um. Also, I was gonna ask you because I would like if you could like paint a picture to us like of the area. You know, you already told us where it's at. You know, pretty much
Mhm.
the general area, but like what is of the property itself? What does a property look like?
It basically looks like a half acre cut out of just straight woods, totally undeveloped land, land that has not been developed or anything. It looks like a half an acre of land cut out and a small white house on top of it.
Hmm.
Um, there's a trail by a well house that I mentioned this because it will be
Hmm.
important later.
Okay.
And the trail goes to a garden that's in the back, and the land's really undeveloped, but there's about a half acre of land that my dad
Hmm.
gardened on or
Hmm.
farmed on, whichever you want to call it, that
Hmm.
is farmable.
How big do you think the acre is, or how many acres do you think the property is?
About five.
About 5 acres. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good
Mhm.
sized land.
Mhm.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, and so your parents, so you grew up there with your parents. Um, did anything did anything like ever startle your parents, either your mom or dad, in the area, like in on the property itself, not behind where the woods are, but in the property, like the fence line, or the tree line or something like that. Did you ever notice anything awkward when you were living there as a kid?
Not as I was a kid, no.
Oh, okay, okay, all right, awesome. So, what did you ever talk to your mom about this?
Not until I was in my 30s. When my mom got sick with cancer,
Mm-hmm.
they moved inward, I guess you could say. They got inside the perimeter of our yard, not just on our property, but where we actually live. And there were a couple of instances where they would walk up to the windows, and my mom was completely unconcerned about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the first time they ever got close to the house, and I was in the house with my mom, they blocked out a part of the window, and I saw a shadow on the wall and said something to my mother, and she said, it's just a dog. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, it's just a really big dog. He lives on the property, and I feed him on occasion. Um, that was the first time. And about a month after that, something else happened in the yard. And my mom said, well, they're actually not dogs. There's something else, but they won't bother you any. Just that was a freak incident that happened today.
Wow.
Um,
Who was
yeah,
that? Who was that said that? Your mom?
my mother, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Now, what happened was there was a dogman pup in the backyard that bum rushed me.
Mm-hmm.
And I freaked out about it because I saw his arms and I saw his little hands.
Right.
And anyway, though, it was just a bluff charge, and he went off to the back, and his mom saw it, and she didn't even look at me funny. She realized what had just happened, and there was no harm done. She just let it go. And my mom said, no big deal. Just they're not dogs. They're something else, but they're not going to bother you. Just that was nothing.
Mm. Wow. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So, can you tell us more? Well, if you want to start with your encounter, or did you have like multiple encounters?
That's the thing. It was an encounter, but it wasn't.
Mhm.
I mean, it was usually I just saw them, or they just walked up to the tree line. A
Right.
few times they walked up to the house.
Wow.
Typically, when they knew we were watching, one of two things would happen. They would run off to the wood, or
Mm.
there was like nothing to see here. They didn't interact with us. They just kept walking and acted like nothing was going on.
So when you saw them walk in through the tree line, was that on your own, or was that the time when you went hunting with your dad? That's my confusion.
Multiple times after that.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh,
I
okay.
wrote I wrote down today on a notepad, and I've done this before. How many? Well, not until recently, but I've done it. And there were multiple times that happened where I would walk
Hmm.
out to the tree line, and they would see me, I would see them, and they would just walk away, and that would be it.
Wow.
They have never bothered me.
Cool, cool, cool. Damn. Okay, well, I guess that was a good thing because
Mhm.
normally people get frightened when they see a dog man, whether it be in their property or right past their property. But you didn't because you didn't see any type of threat in them, right?
No, never. I've honestly only seen them stand up once or twice, actually. Now, the first time I ever saw one, and that wasn't a sign of aggression.
Mm.
They heard a shot go off. A coyote got shot. It screamed. They were curious. They ran
Mm.
up. The other time was when I was about 16, staying with a friend of mine, and we've been smoking weed for about a week, and I hadn't been home. And we were watching a movie, and my friend said, we've done this way too much because I'm hallucinating a werewolf. And I said, oh, really?
Whoa!
And yeah, we
Wow!
looked out the front door and I saw it too. And I said, yeah, we're hallucinating a werewolf. And, and a few minutes later, it just walked away.
Wow!
That was the
Yeah!
first. That was the only other time within 32 years I've ever seen one stand up. And I
Wow!
didn't get the impression either time that there was anything aggressive. I thought, well, the first time it was just something got shot, it ran up. The other time they stood up to
Hmm.
look in the window, but
Right.
there was no aggression from either one, either time.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this: can you give us a description of the dogman that you've seen, or the dogman that you've seen, like throughout the different times that you've seen him? Can you give us a description, like body wise?
I'm sure. The one
Okay.
I've seen most frequently is tan and looks almost like a baboon.
Hmm.
Uh, the head's quite a bit bigger and a lot like a German Shepherd. Um, the front legs or the arms, whichever you want to call them, are jacked. I mean, they are big. They look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Um, the back legs, I haven't paid much attention to, and I've heard people say that their knees are inverted. I
Hmm.
haven't seen that, but the back legs are substantially smaller than the front,
Right.
and I would say the legs are really tall. And I didn't realize how tall they were because most of the time that I saw it walking around the perimeter of the tree line, the weeds had their legs and arms cut off. So all I could really see was their body.
Right.
And that was one of the reasons why I didn't really make a lot of connections until pretty recently, because I just had no clue what I was seeing.
Mm, okay. Now, what you described right now is like basically the general description of a dog man. The short legs, the big torso, the big, German Shepherd head. That's like really, common, or I should
Mhm.
say, general description of a dog man. But when you mentioned the legs, you said they weren't like dog legs, which is digitigrade or digigrade, whatever. So, what were the legs actually like to you, for what you've seen?
Well, the front legs or the arms looked like people arms.
Right.
The back legs were taller than a dog's legs, and weren't that much shorter than the front legs or the arms. But
Mm-hmm.
I know the feet definitely did not look like a paw. They looked like, I remember thinking at the time, duck. Do you remember Dr. Seuss when he talked
Yeah.
about the duck dog? I remember thinking that
Mm.
the feet looked a lot like a person's feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Were they elongated any, or the feet, or were they
No,
just no
no, not
regular?
that I recall. But
Right.
that wasn't something I would have really paid attention to, because most of the time I've seen this animal, it's been, like I said, at a tree line. It was walking away from me, or I caught it on the side. There's been very few instances where I've seen, like I said, it's never stood up. It's only stood up about twice since I've seen it. And I've seen it about 30 times.
Okay. So the time it did stand up, how tall do you think it might have been?
I think
The,
it was probably about 8 foot tall. If I'm judging by the size of the legs, the
mm-hmm.
length of the leg, and when it looked in the front window of the house I was in, it was squatting down to look in the front. So I think it was about 7 foot to 8 foot tall.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty tall, 8 foot, because the general height
Yeah,
is about 7 feet. That's like the general, because I've listened to many encounters, and some say even like 6 feet, which is pretty short for a dog man. Which I think it might be more like a juvenile, but like a grown adult regularly goes for 7 foot, maybe 8 foot tops.
yeah,
And also I've heard of dog man being even taller than that, 10, 12 foot tall. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
yeah. Cool. Now, can you tell us what the fur was like and the color? You said tan, but were they all tan, or were they some more darker than others, or?
No, the one in the front has usually been tan. The one in the back has been black.
Mm, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now, let me ask you this: do you think any of the ones you've seen were female?
That's one of the things I can't really say. It's whether they were male or female, because
Mm,
of the 30, about 30 times I've seen them, 28 times they were on all fours. So,
right,
not something I would have seen. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't really know what I was seeing until the past year, is because almost every time that I've seen them, they've been on all fours.
right. Yeah. That's a general description of them, being on all fours, and they only get up to walk on 2 feet, like for a short time. But
Yeah.
which a lot of people say that they look comfortable on 2 feet. Also, it's like they don't look uncomfortable like a bear standing up. You know how it looks all clumsy and
Yeah.
uncomfortable. And dogs too. They'll jump up, but they'll just kind of hop around. No, these creatures they've been said to walk naturally on 2 feet, like comfortable, like a normal human being, pretty much.
Yeah. I honestly wouldn't know. I haven't seen that, because they've never tried to show dominance or aggression
Mm-hmm.
or any of that. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's like a like a benevolent clan, bro. because that's what they call them, clans. So
I have
being
no
that you've
idea.
seen several,
I'll say this: they've gone out of their way to not scare me.
right?
Most of the time, I've seen them at the tree line. They just walked away from me.
I have a question from Russ. Do they have long tails? Did they have long tails or short tails? If you can
Their
remember.
tails, honestly, looked a lot like it was pretty long. There was one time when I was with my mother in the living room, and my mom said, "Oh, don't worry, that's just a dog blocking the window." The tail,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I thought at the time looked like a scorpion's tail because it reached up and it was kind of erect,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end, there was fur, and I remember at the time thinking it looked like a scorpion the way it was shaped
The tail,
and the way it was elongated. But
right?
the tail, yeah,
So how long do you
the
think,
way it
even
was
if it's
bent over.
curved? Yeah, it's been over. How long do you think it might have been? Maybe 2, 3 feet, or
2 or 3 feet sounds
yeah,
pretty accurate.
yeah, sounds
Hmm.
about right. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, well, about what you're saying that that you normally seen them more on all fours than standing up. That is very common. People see them more on 4 feet than standing up. But what you said, the way they stand or on all fours, but you did mention the front arms were like human, right? Were like kind of like human hands or whatever. But were they
Yes,
longer?
yes,
Were they longer in the front, kind of like a hyena? Were they longer?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, okay.
The legs are definitely longer than the back legs.
Yes. That's what I thought, because that's the general description. Like I said, most people see them
Mhm.
with their front arms longer than the back, and like extra long hands when they stand up. You can see like their hands like all the way down to their knees. Basically.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Cool. So what did they have any type of like mane in their back as they were walking on all fours, kind of like a lion that most people
Yes.
talk
A
about? Yeah.
lot like a lion. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I've seen pictures of baboons, and some of them were pretty close. It didn't cover up the arms. The arms had short hair like most of his body, but definitely the back had a mane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the
Wow.
hair was really high on the back.
Now, did it look like nice, like nicely kept, or did it look like matted, or kind of like a dirty dog from the street or something?
It looked very nicely kept. I mean, it looked like a
Okay.
show dog. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because I've heard
Mhm.
that a lot too. Very nicely kept. Actually, I have a Dogman eyewitness that I'm pre-interviewing right now, and he said the same thing, that
Mhm.
it looked like they're very well kept, their fur, and they look beautiful. After the fact that
Yeah.
he was stuck, and like didn't know what to do at the moment after it happened, and Dogman took off or whatever. He
Yeah.
said that he was thinking about how beautiful his fur was, or her fur was, or whatever it was. But it
Mhm.
was it was like really nicely kept. And I have also listened to many encounters where they say that their fur and their hair is like really nicely kept and almost beautiful. And I came to the conclusion. Now, this is just my opinion. I came to the conclusion that the females are the ones that have really well kept hair or fur, in the males don't. The males are more rough, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
That they don't really upkeep their hair or anything like that. Like, they don't really worry about that, and the females do. Because
Yeah.
I had a past guest that she said that they were females, and Christine. I don't know if you ever heard about her, but she might be here tonight. I invited her. She actually had encounters and sightings on her property with dogmen similar to you, but they did interact with her. And she said that the alpha was a female, and she was white, and she had like very beautiful hair, and that's why
Yeah.
I came to that conclusion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I have a question from Russ. He says, any idea how many were in the group?
I've never seen more than three.
Hmm.
Um, some of the times when I pulled into my house, I've seen in the trail I was telling you about. I've seen them multiple times running across it. Um, I've never seen more than three at a time. Usually it's the tan one I've told you about and the one just behind it that's black, but
Right.
never more than three.
Now, what about did you ever notice like if it was an actual family, like the mom, the dad, and the pups, like the juvenile pups or whatever? Did you ever notice anything like that, or do you think they were all around the same age? Or
The three I've seen running across the trail have all been within about the same age. The first two I ever saw when my dad shot a coyote that was getting too close to us. Um, they were shorter. They were about 4 foot tall. So those look like puppies or pups.
hmm, about four
But
foot tall?
I've never
Yeah,
about that. You know.
yeah, that makes sense. Because 4 foot, yeah, you would think they're puppies.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you something. What kind of fence does that property have?
None. My
None.
property does not have a fence. There was a pen we had in the back where we had some beagle hounds at one
Mm-hmm.
time,
Mm-hmm.
but beyond that, there's no fence or no none.
Wow. That's not a usual thing because normally everybody has a fence, whether it's a little white 4 foot picket
Yeah,
fence or whatever, or even a privacy fence 6 foot tall because they say that they easily can come over in and out. That's how they snatch
yeah,
dogs and cats and stuff like that. But that's the first time I've heard of a house being in a wooded area with no fence. That's the first time I heard that,
none,
man.
none.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. So they can easily come in and out your backyard or your property, right? I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah, and they very seldom cross the tree line. Um, I, I know my experience is different. I'm not here to tell you they're not an aggressive species or
right,
that
right.
or any of that. I'm just saying that my experience has been total coexistence and no problems from either side. I've only one of the few times I've seen them cross the tree line. Well, when my mom was sick. Beyond that, I've seen their arms stretch out one time
Mm-hmm.
from the tree line, and I thought that was unnecessary. I thought that was almost a message that look, we're here. Um,
Yeah, just the
but
arm,
beyond that,
just the arms,
just the
stretched out
arms.
of the. Wow.
That only happened once though, but
Mm-hmm.
that was about 20 years ago, and that was just a a one and done thing. That was a one off,
One time that you've
and
seen
I
that.
don't know. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they typically just respect us, and we respect them, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's cool, man. I mean, because normally people see them and they get frightened because the dogman is curious and they
Mhm.
kind of make themselves well known. They even stand up and kind of size you up and all that. And the ones in your property really don't do that or didn't do that.
No,
They just kind of went about their way and kind of just nonchalant, just
yeah,
just cruising by your your property.
pretty
Uh,
pretty
yeah.
much. The closest thing to aggression I've seen from them,
Mm.
aside from that arm in the yard that one time, is they used to like to aggravate our beagles. But even then, it didn't seem to be that malicious. It almost seemed to be like the 7 and 8 year old kids
Hmm.
messing with their 4 or 5 year old siblings or cousins.
Right, right,
Nothing
right.
malicious,
Wow.
just having fun with them. Yeah,
Wow, man,
that's
that's the first time I've ever heard anything like that, man. Honestly, them
yeah,
being them
I
them being so cool like that, where
yeah,
they don't
yeah.
seem to
They've not
be any type of threat whatsoever. That's the first time I've
none,
heard that.
none.
Wow, wow, that's
At
crazy.
well, like I said, there's been a few times when there's been clusters of sighting, like when my mom was really, really sick. But even
Mm-hmm.
then, they didn't cause a problem. And
Mm-hmm.
in 2020, when I left Nashville to come back to the rural area I'm from, I saw them a bunch of times, but never has there been any kind of threat. I mean, they have been within 20 or 30. Oh, they've been within 1 foot feet of me, and I didn't know they were there until it stood up and walked away. But in 2020, I saw them a lot. They started coming in a lot closer. And I think it's because during 2020, COVID was going on and most people were
Yeah,
inside.
inside their
So,
homes. Yeah.
yeah, so
There wasn't
they
so many
thought they had more.
traffic. There wasn't so many people out on the streets and doing
Right,
extracurricular activities, camping, hiking. They weren't doing
right,
any of that. Yeah, right.
right. So they thought they had more land to roam or more territory to roam.
Yeah. Matter of fact,
And
I think they might have been kind of tripped out about it, but like, where's everybody at? Where they normally see them, right?
Mhm.
Rivers, canoeing,
Yeah,
fishing and all that. Yeah, that
yeah,
makes sense. Hey,
yeah.
I have a
But
question. I have a question from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. My good brother Abe. Abe C is.
mhm.
He's asking, ever hear them growl? Did you ever hear them growl at all?
No,
No.
never did. Um, I've heard them imitate sounds.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard them. Have you ever heard the sound that sounds a lot like a cicada?
Yes. Yes.
Um,
I hate
yes,
those
I've heard
things.
that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Never have I heard them growl. As crazy as that sounds,
Wow.
they've never growled,
Wow. That is pretty.
and
Pretty.
they are never far away. You know,
Right.
the last time I went home, last time I went to my parents' property, I heard a sound that sounded like an airplane, and
I've
there
heard that
wasn't an
before.
airplane around.
I've heard that before.
Yeah,
They make
yeah,
airplane noises or helicopter noises. I've heard that before.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Hmm.
and that
In
went
the.
on
Hmm.
a while, and they it didn't get any worse, and it was just, oh, there's nothing to see here, and I went inside and did what I needed to do and came back, and they were
Hmm.
still doing that, but I didn't really think anything about it.
Yeah. And the cicada, I've heard that also before. The cicada noises, like brrr, that chatter,
Mhm.
that really fast drumming, chattering noise. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard that before too. And wow, that's crazy, man.
yeah,
There's a lot of different noises that they make. They also make like clicking noises. I've heard, like click click click. They kind
oh
of
yeah,
like to communicate, I guess. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so that's another one. Hmm. Cool, cool,
but
cool.
yeah, I'm sorry, my encounters have not been eventful. I've had very boring encounters when
No,
I've heard
no. I
other
mean,
people
it's totally
talking.
fine. We have you here so you can tell us what you think about all this. You know what I mean? That's why we have you
Yeah,
here. I mean, if even if it's just one encounter, that's fine. But you can tell us what how you feel about it. What you have. They've been like benevolent. And like Nana Boss just said, she just mentioned, she said, Vic Kunda says he's heard thousands of encounters and only a handful were violent, which is true. That is true.
wow, okay,
Mm-hmm. They're very
yeah, they
rare.
look, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they look really scary, but
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the reasons why I haven't been afraid of them is because I've seen them on all fours, and on all fours they look a lot less scary than they do when they stand up, and look through a window.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And something flying around here. it's, it's a little one of them little net thingies that got in through the door, I guess.
yeah,
But yeah, man, that's awesome, man. Thank you for describing everything that we've asked you so far. If anybody in the chat has any questions for Benjamin, feel free to ask him. Anything that I might have missed, because I like to pretty much bring out the most prevalent questions. Like color, size, what type of head did it have, the fur, all that. But if I miss anything, if you guys want to ask him anything in particular, feel free to post it on the comments, and I'll post it on the screen. Okay. So let me see. I'm trying to think of any other question that I might have for you as far as the Dogman that you've seen. We already asked you if you heard a growl, which you said no.
No,
Just different sounds like the cicada sounds and the airplane sound. I have heard of that. Have you ever heard any have you ever heard any big ruckus noise through the woods? Because that's what they normally say, that when Dogmen come through the woods, that they were like knocking down trees and everything. Sounds like a tank bulldozer coming through there. You know what I mean? Have you ever heard anything
no,
like that? No.
no. Just the opposite. I was thinking about the last time I saw them. It was about this time of year in Tennessee last year, which meant the leaves and stuff were almost in autumn, and it was pretty dry outside. And I saw them walk for several seconds, and they just looked at me and weren't. No, they didn't even look at me. They knew I was there because we were really close,
Mm-hmm.
and were completely unconcerned. And they were
Right.
walking around on some leaves, and I barely heard that. And I remember thinking that was strange because of how big
Wow.
they were, and the fact that there wasn't much of a sound. Um,
Right. Right.
I've never heard them in the back raising hell. I've heard them get really loud and imitate sounds from
Mm-hmm.
hound dogs that were in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
my dad had quite a few beagles, and when my dad passed, which was 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
we gave the beagles to his friends. Where we still hear the beagles, and that's because the
They
dog man.
imitate them. Right.
Yes, exactly.
They learn to imitate them. That's what it is. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
We still
Cool.
hear that sound, and that's been like 5 years after the fact. But as far as
Mm-hmm.
them raising hell, no, never
Right.
have.
Okay. Wow, cool, man. There's a question from Bama BF. She says, was there one in particular he saw the most more?
Yes, the tan colored. Um,
Oh,
in fact, the first time I saw that one, she was. I'm going to call her a she. I don't
yeah,
know why,
makes
but
sense because of the
I
pretty
don't know.
color and the pretty
Yeah,
fur. Yeah.
yeah. Um, she was about 4 foot tall, and I had a gun in my hand, and she looked at me. I looked at her, and she just walked away. I've seen her by far the most. She's always walking in front. The black one is just behind her.
Hmm.
And yes, her details are the ones I could tell you the most about. So, yes, there's one that's tan I've seen by far the most.
Right. Okay. Cool. Hey, so for what it sounds to me, it sounds like she might be either a mother of the other two pups, the black ones that you've seen, or the alpha. If it is a male, you know what I mean? Because that's the
Mhm.
one you see the most. It has to be the alpha, whether it's a female or male. It has to be the alpha. That's the ones that show themselves the most.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen her lots of times. She's even shown up in my dreams several times. And
Wow.
yeah, so I call her Sammy, actually.
You call her what?
Sammy.
Sammy. Oh, you got a name for her? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. You know what? That's very common for people who encounter them a lot. They give them names. Like I said, my guest Anne Christine, she has a name. I forget the name. Sorry, I forget the name that she has for her alpha dogman female that she has. But it's a very pretty name. I just can't remember it right now. But yeah, I've heard that a lot where they give
Yeah.
them names. That's cool. Sammy. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking, it's either a alpha, like I said, or it's the mother with her pups. You know
That
what I
would
mean?
make sense too. Yeah. That
and
would
she
make
comes
it.
around, and she comes around more because she's curious of your property and
Yeah,
who all lives there.
yeah,
Before letting her young come close. You know what I mean?
yeah. I thought that. Yeah, because she's gotten close to the house. At the tree line, I've seen her before, but I've also seen two smaller dogmen that are black, and I've had no interaction with them. They've looked at me and walked away. That's been it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I've thought that myself.
Right. Yeah, that would make sense, right? I
Yeah.
have another question from Abe. He says, "How fast did they move when it walked away from you?"
Uh, the normal speed of a person walking away from you when they're not in a hurry, not fast at all.
No, not fast.
Um, not fast. Not when they walked away. No, just
So just calmly, they just walked away calmly, like with no
exactly,
concern.
exactly. No
Okay.
concern.
Okay. Cool. 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 I have another question from Nana Boss. She says, "What type of hind legs did they have? Are they standing on flat feet or only on the front portion of their toes?"
They stand on flat feet. I
Okay.
say that they look well when they're walking. The heel goes up, but when they're put their feet down, it's pretty much flat. Yeah,
Right. So, do you think it might have? Because have you ever seen dogs or cats? You know how they got those digigrade legs like this, right?
yeah,
And sometimes this is their toes, right? This is their paws, and this is their
right,
little leg, and this is their little what is it called? Their upper leg, right? Well,
yeah.
sometimes well, most of the time actually they walk around on their little toes, but sometimes they lay this long part going back, they lay it down flat, and it almost
Mhm.
looks like a long leg, you know what I mean, or a long
Yeah.
foot actually. So do you think that maybe they were on those, or do you think it's just a regular leg with the regular foot and stepping down flat like that? I mean, what
I
was your
think it's
take?
the latter. I think it's the latter. Um, they look to be walking comfortably at a normal gait, normal station,
Hmm.
and still put their feet flat down. So yeah, I think it's definitely the latter and not the former.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. I have another question from Abe. He says, "Did they ever mimic a person or family member's voice?"
Not that I've heard. No, I mean I'm sure they probably could,
Hmm.
but
Well,
because the imitation sound they give when doing a airplane, it sounds pretty spot on.
right,
Perfect pitch, perfect tone. So I'm sure they could speak, but I've never personally heard that.
right. Were their tone of voices or whatever high or low? Do you remember?
They seem to have a pretty good range. When
Hmm.
I've heard them, mimic the beagle hounds, that
Hmm.
was pretty. Uh, when I've heard them um, do the airplane sound, that's pretty normal. But I mean, I've heard them bark times, and that was actually pretty low pitch. So they have a pretty distinctive range.
Hmm. But they can be very loud, right? As well.
Oh, oh yeah, they can
I'm
be really loud.
I'm thinking, yeah. Abe has another question. Do you think they might be telepathic?
I don't know. I've had dreams, but in none of my dreams did they mess with me. Um, the main thing that happened in my dreams was that Sammy would imitate what I was doing. And while I was walking, she'd walk behind me, and I'd turn around and look at her and start laughing.
Hmm.
Um, that's a pretty normal dream, and it doesn't seem like I don't know if they're telepathic at all. I
Right.
don't.
But
Like I said, I've had. Go ahead.
right. The dreams might be a form of telepathic communication with you. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah,
have
they
I
could
have
be.
heard that before that people in their dreams, and Christine, one of them, in her dreams, she would talk to them a lot, and even I don't remember if even in person, but she did say that they communicated with her telepathically. So, that could be a good, a good chance that it does communicate, whether in dreams or in person. But
Yeah.
yeah, that could be a good chance that it does. Wow. Okay. Aunt Rock, she wants to ask whereabouts state was his encounter. He wasn't here when the show first started, but can you retouch on that again, please, Benjamin?
It's in West Tennessee.
West Tennessee. That's another thing I was going to ask you because I have a good buddy. He's a cryptid researcher, big time cryptid researcher. I've had him on the show here before, and he's also from Tennessee. And he has really good evidence. And his name is
Ricardo?
no him too. I've had him on my show too, and he's also living in Tennessee now, which he
Yeah.
didn't used to. But no, I'm talking about Paul Chafin. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I
Paul
don't know
Chafin.
Paul. I know Ricardo. I don't know Paul.
Okay, well, both of them live in Tennessee. And Paul, the part of Tennessee, I'm guessing West Tennessee also, because he says like that he's only like maybe an hour away, 45 minutes tops away from Daniel Boone National Forest. And he said that there's been many reports and sightings and encounters in that forest. Now, that's the question I was going to ask you. How far are you from Daniel Boone Forest?
That's east. That's actually Eastern Kentucky and East Tennessee. That's about
Mm-hmm.
5 hours
East. I'm
away.
sorry, not west. East. Yes, east.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
I'm about 5 hours from Daniel Boone.
Okay.
I'm about an hour south of LBL.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're like on the western side of Tennessee then.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay. Yeah. No, Paul. Paul. He's on the eastern side. Yeah, like on the very far east, and he's only like an hour away from Daniel Boone National Forest, which is a big forest, and I've heard many encounters on that on Vic show on many shows that they mention. Daniel Boone National Forest. So yeah, thank you for that, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, my good buddy Bama BF, she's actually I have her as a moderator on my YouTube channel. She says that she likes you, and that she named her Coal and Smoke. So she has names for hers also, which are cool names. I like those, Bama.
Oh yeah.
Cool and Smoke, yeah. I have another question from Abe, Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. He says, did they ever urinate your doors or vehicle?
No,
No? Okay.
never.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and Rock says, oh, right next door. Yeah, he's talking about LBL. Have you ever been interested in visiting LBL?
I have actually in the
Yeah?
past, but yeah. Ricardo told me he heard some things there, but personally, I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ricardo, man, Ricardo loves to go through LBL. He told me. Like, man, you're crazy. The only person that I know that likes to go through LBL just for the fun of it and just for the kick of it and just hoping to find or see something. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, man. He said one time he was going through there at night. This was like, I don't know, maybe anywhere from 12 to 3 in the morning. He said he was driving through there and he had to stop to urinate. I said, are you crazy? How are you going to stop in the middle of LBL and stop and urinate? You know everything that goes on there. He's like, yeah, man, but I had to go really bad. I either did that or I had to go on myself, in the car. I'm like, and I wasn't going to do that. I'm like, well, yeah, that's true. But man, I'd have been like right by the door, and I wouldn't have stepped not 2 feet away from the door, man. I would just open the door and boom,
Yeah.
right there. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Yeah.
he's crazy, and he's got balls of steel, man. All the
Oh yeah.
encounters that he's you know him. So all the encounters and the places that he's researched, yeah, man, this is crazy. He's
He
hoping to
blows my
find something.
mind.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
blows my mind. Yeah.
yeah, he does. Yeah, yeah. When I first met him, I kind of got into it with him because he had one idea and I had another idea. I said, you know what? let's just, all right, I'll respect your idea and you respect mine and we'll just crush it. And he's like, okay, cool, man. So we're good
Yeah,
friends now. After that, and that happened
yeah.
probably maybe 3 or 4 years ago when I first met him. And
Hmm.
but yeah, man, he's got a lot of good evidence. He's got a lot of good videos where he goes out there and researches, and he has recordings of howls and stuff like that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and where Paul Chafin has more evidence of Dogman tracks, he even has casts on there. If you guys want to go
Hmm.
back and look for the episode I had Paul Chafin in, yeah, it's on there. You can check him out, or if you guys want to go back and check out the episode where I had, damn it, I forgot his name right now. You were just talking about him.
Ricardo.
Yeah, Ricardo Sanchez. If you guys want to go
Yeah.
check him out, he's on my one of my episodes as well, and his was really good. You should check that out, Ben, when you get a chance, man.
Will do. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, Not a Boss says yeah, LBL has the most encounters. Yes, I agree. That's like the top hot spot of Dogman. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
really Bigfoot. It's more Dogman. And for all the years that I've looked into cryptids, I found out that it's more on the northern side of LBO than the southern side. They say
Yeah.
that's where, like, from halfway to the top, northern, that's where you have all the activity. And from halfway down, it's like less activity and almost nothing really, because
Yeah.
they even say that people that have traveled through there, either north to south or south to north, they say that the north is dead quiet, where the south, it has all the wildlife noises and crickets and
Yeah.
frogs and all that. So that makes you think. It's like, yeah, and that's true, because you've heard a lot of encounters where everything's eerie quiet, and that's when the predator's around, which is basically the Dogman. So
Oh yeah. Like on my parents' property, um, I haven't done any hunting there since I was a kid. Since that time with the
hmm
coyote, but I never see deer just walk in the backyard or anything like that. Um,
hmm
and I haven't seen many squirrels in the last few years. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense that when a super predator moves in somewhere, that the
yeah,
wildlife's going to move out.
yeah, and they go dead quiet. I don't know. I don't really understand the reason for that. Like, if they're scared and I'm gonna shut up before I get killed, or is it a vibration or a frequency thing that they all shut up?
Don't know.
Or the Dogman comes in with the higher vibration where you can't hear those little animals anymore. You see what I'm saying? Because it's
Yeah,
all about
totally.
vibration and frequency.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm
it
saying,
could
yeah,
it could be that you can't hear them anymore because the frequency is so high now, you know, and they just go kind of like when how when you block something out from your mind, like it's there, the noise,
yeah,
but you just block it out and you don't hear it anymore. That's because you
right.
block it out in your brain. The noise is still there, but you can't hear it anymore because you block it out in your brain. So kind of like that,
Yeah,
where the frequency is so high now, and you're alert, in your body, the high alert thing,
yeah,
that makes your body like super high alert. That maybe causes you to raise your frequency where you can't hear the wildlife anymore. See what I'm saying? Does that
right,
make sense?
right.
So
Yeah,
that's what I kind of came up with, or kind of gathered that type of information from all the years that I've been,
yeah,
looking into cryptids. Yeah, because I started like in 2015, so that's it's a good 7 years.
yeah,
And I'm a big cryptid junkie, man. Like I mean all those years,
yeah,
I've listened to encounters, interviewed people, listened to different shows, listened to different interviews,
mhm,
and that's how I gathered, my general,
mhm,
idea of what these things do. And the reason I started listening to them is because, of course, the intrigue, right? Like, wow, this is cool,
right.
man. This is spooky. This is entertaining,
Mhm.
if you will. But at the same time, I was like, I want to learn about these things, because if I ever encounter one, I know what to do and what not to do. See what I mean? So,
Right.
and that's why I enjoy doing the show, and that's why I love doing what I do, because I like to put people's encounters out there, and have people, learn off of what they hear. See what I mean? So
Right.
they know what to do and what not to do. Kind of like me when I started. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, yeah. That's just me on how I see things. With
Yeah.
cryptids. Yeah.
I haven't had an experience like this anywhere other than on my own property,
Right.
except for that one time when I was at my friend's house and it showed up
Mm-hmm.
wondering what I was doing. That is the only time it's ever been away from my house.
Right.
Yeah.
Do
And
you
even,
think they might have migrated like in and out from your property at times?
I think they did because there is a small farm
Mm-hmm.
that's on I guess that would be the east side.
Mm-hmm.
And they come back from the southwest. And there's that trail I always see them running down
Mm-hmm.
every time.
Mm-hmm.
And I see them going back on that trail. So
Right.
yes, I think that our house, our property was actually just on their migration. I
Yes.
don't
That. Yes.
think
Yes. I believe
I
that.
don't think they live there. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's one of the reasons why they never showed any aggression is they
Right.
probably have enough uh, instinctive sense in them to
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that if you're going to travel on somebody's property, don't cause a scene, don't scare them, just don't. I'm trying to think of a polite way to say this term. Don't shit where you eat.
Exactly. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think if they were migrating, they would just stop by, kind of curious, and look over, to where you're at, whatever.
right.
And they had bigger plans. You know what I mean? They had somewhere to
Right.
go. They
They
had
were
to
going
go
to the farm.
follow a herd of deer somewhere, or whatever
Yeah,
the case may be. But they weren't going to stop there and act a fool in your property, knowing they weren't going to get anything out of it. You know what I mean? That makes sense.
right.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Let me bring that back up. There's a comment from Eddie Rodriguez. Thank you, Eddie, for being here tonight. He says, I heard UFOs followed shortly after Dogman encounters. Yes, I have heard that before many times. Did you ever see anything or hear anything or feel anything after you had your encounters, before or after you had your
No, I
encounters? No?
I get asked that all the time, and no, that never happened.
Wow. Okay. Well, just checking because there is a lot of people that report that.
Yeah,
Not every single one, but I'm gonna say like a good 10% out of all the
yeah,
encounters they
yeah. I've heard
report
that a
that.
lot.
Hmm.
Never happened.
Right. Wow, that's cool. That's cool. Well, what else? What else? Does anybody have any other questions, guys? We're going on an hour right now, so I just want to make sure we don't leave without asking you all the right questions. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
And maybe even questions that people never asked you before as well.
Right.
So I'm just putting up these.
Because I
Mhm.
don't like just disclose a lot without being asked questions because this went on so long that I didn't think anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense at all. I mean, it was just, oh, hell, there's nothing to see here. Yeah, I mean, so I didn't think a lot about things that other people would think something about.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, what's up, Matt? Matt from Squatch in South Florida. That's a good buddy of mine right there. He says, "Yo, Carlito, glad I could stop by." Thank you, Matt. Thank you for being here. His mom is also here. Her name is Nana Boss. Um,
Okay.
I'm trying to see if Matt can help me get her on my show because I would love to pick her brain and see what she knows and
Yeah.
what she feels and what she thinks about all these cryptids, because that's Matt's mom from Squatch in South Florida, and I recently had him about a week or two ago, and he had Dogman encounters as well. So
Yeah.
or no, sorry, Bigfoot encounters. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Anything else that you can remember? Any small little detail trait from the Dogman that might stand out or something like that?
Um, no, not really.
Okay. Okay. Anybody in the comments, Matt, that you just came in? Who else? Eddie Rodriguez, Voltron. I know they might have just came in not too long ago, maybe about 10,
Mhm.
15 minutes ago. If they have any further questions that they might want to ask you, anything in particular.
Mhm.
Um, so wow, yeah. So I think they probably just migrated through because I have
Mhm.
um, another guest that's gonna come on soon. I'm thinking within a week or two.
Mhm.
He's had multiple Dogman encounters as well, and he said that I asked him the same question. He said, "Yeah, I think they migrate because there's been times that I've seen them more than other times of the year." I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, that sounds interesting. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
follow a pattern. They follow a migration
Yes.
pattern. You know, like
Yes.
they're seen more during certain times of year than other times of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and normally it's like in the winter time, the colder,
Yeah.
times of the year.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Both my parents died in the winter, and there's been several times where I've seen them in clusters. Like I was saying, there was in 2020,
Hmm.
and there was when my mom was dying of cancer, and both of those times were around the winter.
Oh,
Yeah. It
okay.
was 2020 to 2021, from about September to early January of 2021. I saw them a lot.
Hmm.
And before that, it was from November of 2008 to about December of 2008,
Hmm.
where I had lots of clusters of sightings.
Wow. So you had more in certain years than others? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely more in
Wow.
certain years than others.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I've gone a decade without seeing them at all, and then seen them a bunch.
Right. Yes, I remember you told me that in the pre-interview that I had with you the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you've seen more clusters of them in certain
Mhm.
times of certain years, right?
Right. Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Oh, I have a question from Voltron. That's why I put it up. It
Sure.
says, "Have any of the dogmen tried to communicate with him on any way?" Sorry, that might have been a question or a statement he made earlier. Yes, I think he did bring it up, but can you retouch on that, please, Benjamin?
Sure. I've had a few instances where I would dream about them pretty frequently. That said, though, in my dreams, there was really nothing they were trying to tell me. Um, I had several dreams where Sammy would walk behind me and imitate me, and when I would turn around to look at her, she would laugh and run off. But
Okay. Wow,
yeah,
that's interesting. I mean, that's part of that's part of your
yeah,
story. You can't leave that out. I mean, whether it's dream or not, but that happened because it's a reaction to an action. So it's an action to every reaction. So
yeah,
from you seeing them, you started to have these dreams, which is interesting.
right.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible I could have had those dreams just through natural. You know, you dream
Hmm.
about what you see, but it's also possible that that was a community. I don't know. So I
Hmm.
guess to that question, I don't know. It's possible that that's happened, but
Right.
I can't say that for sure. That would be my answer.
Right. It makes sense. They could have done that through your dreams, so they
Hmm.
wouldn't really be any type of threat in real life.
Yeah.
And I have my buddy Abe. He says they follow the food deer migration. Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's why you might not see them throughout the whole year, but just in certain times of the year, which is like more
Yeah.
like the colder. Because everybody says they see them in the colder seasons. So
Yep.
yeah, that makes sense. They follow the food. The deer
Hmm.
or coyotes or whatever they eat. Let me ask you something too. Do you have coyotes in that property?
We did, but we don't. if that makes sense. When I was younger, we had a lot of coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
There, and the coyote that was getting really close to us that my dad shot.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we didn't see many coyotes, and interestingly, that was about wow. I've just now thought of that. I never had thought of that before. The first time I saw a dog man, my dad had shot a coyote. I
Mm-hmm.
never saw coyotes after that. That's something and I never had seen dogmen before that.
Wow. So there used to be a big population of coyotes, but then they
Yep,
stopped. Like there's there.
yep.
Wow. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think when one super predator comes in, the other, I guess, predator moves out because it's just competition for resources. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the reason there are so many deer in Tennessee is because for years there wasn't a natural predator.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
And do you?
you
Let me
know,
ask you something. Do you think that contributes to a bigger predator, such as maybe a mountain lion or even a dogman?
absolutely,
Okay, because that makes sense. If there's a lot of dogmen, moving in, then the coyotes are going to move out, obviously,
absolutely,
because they would become prey then. You know,
yeah, yeah,
where they normally, like in wooded areas, they are the predator. They go
right,
in people's backyards. I've seen many videos about that, and they're funny, but some
yeah,
are not funny. Where they jump in and snatch a dog or a cat. Whether it be
yeah,
a coyote, because I've seen videos of coyotes, or mountain lions. Mountain lions
yeah,
jump in backyards and snatch dogs and cats as well. But it has to
yeah,
be something bigger than them to move them out, though. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
do you think that
So
might have
yeah,
been, yeah, the reason?
I think that's exactly what happened, and I never had thought of that till right now.
Mm, okay, okay, cool. I have another question from Voltron. He says, at any point in time have they showed aggression of any type towards him or his loved ones, as in your family? I'm thinking.
Never. They have screwed with my beagles when I had them, but even then, it wasn't really aggression. It was just uh, tomfoolery, fuckery, jackassery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, they have not shown aggression, even
Wow.
to my dogs. Even to my dogs, yeah,
Not even to your dogs, but never your family, like your mom, your dad, maybe your brothers or sisters. No.
none.
Okay. So
Never have they ever.
that was a good thing because they out of all the times that they came through your property, they never showed aggression towards you or your family or your dogs, even for that matter. Which
None.
normally that's what they go for. Dogs and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Cool. So do you guys have any other questions? Because I'm starting to run out of the good questions. Anything that comes to my mind. But let me see. I asked you about the coyotes. That's an important one because sometimes people
Mhm.
seem to mistake coyote howls for dogman howls. For instance,
They sound a lot alike. They
they do
do
sound a
sound a
lot
lot
alike.
alike.
Yes, but from what I've heard throughout all the years, and you can vouch for this, Noogie. My good friend Noogie's in the chat right now. He just I started with him since 2000, long time ago. But the coyotes have this type of yelp and this type of scream because they do also do a scream like a woman screaming. But what
Yeah.
I've heard is that dogmen do the same thing. They do the yelps, and they do the screaming, but like sound like a woman or whatever. But it's like a deeper tone than a coyote.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of people,
Yes.
differentiate the with between people that know, they know it's if it's either a coyote or a dog man. See what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot more metallic too with a dog man.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. And it sounds. It's like a deeper, more
Yeah,
growlish kind of howl, scream at the same time.
yeah,
That's what a lot of people mention. What sounds like a dog man is a between a howl of a wolf and a scream of a man mixed together.
that's pretty
You know what I'm
close
saying?
actually.
Yeah.
That's pretty close.
And what I think it sounds like, and I have heard like many what do you call it recordings and audios of Dogman of Dogman howls and like supposed Dogman howls, right? But they do sound very eerie, and it sounds like a howl and a scream at the same time mixed together, like they say.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know what it sounds kind of like the howl from the werewolf from London, American Werewolf in London. Sounds like that, you know.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of metal, metal,
Right.
sounding kind of hollow
Metallic. Yeah.
metal. Yeah, like if you blow
Yeah.
through a hollow metal, and they go whoo like that kind of, with the
Mhm.
scream and a growl at the same time. You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of people, describe it as the American
Mhm.
Werewolf in London type howl. And I have seen videos. Well, I've seen videos long time ago that they don't have them up no anymore because not Facebook, YouTube took them down. Because I actually had a playlist of this, Benjamin, and then I started
Mhm.
seeing one by one disappear. Video not available,
Wow.
video not available, video not available. Like they're almost
Wow.
all gone. Like out of 20 that I had on my favorites, howls and stuff
Yeah.
like that, maybe 2 or 3 are left. And that's like,
Wow.
yeah, well, that's crazy. Yeah, why'd they
Really?
do
Yeah.
that? I'm
That
thinking
is.
because
Yeah.
they sound so real, and they take them
Yeah.
down. That's what I think. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's what I like to describe a dogman howl,
That's pretty close. That really is.
and the difference between a dogman howl and a coyote
Mhm.
howl. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. That's not everybody. That's just me. But
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a fact. I'm just saying that's my opinion. But yeah, that's what I've come to, in conclusion of a dogman howl.
Yeah.
And of course, you're going to see all these fake videos of a dogman howl, and they use it from another video and put it on their video. I've seen those a lot too,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, that's not real, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, like people that have watched videos throughout the years, they know,
Mhm.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And like my good friend B Moss is here tonight, and Noogie DJ Noogie.
Oh, I
Those
know the
my
feeling.
Yeah, those are my day ones. They started off with me since I think it was 2017, I believe.
Yeah.
Where we met in the cryptid world. They
Yeah.
they've obviously seen cryptids and stuff too, like me, since like
Yeah.
2015, maybe even more. But that's when we met. And she's here tonight. Hey B, if you have any questions, B, I know you're kind of late or whatever, but if you have any questions, good questions, go ahead and ask them because we already kind of covered everything as far as the color and the size and the head and the mane.
Yeah.
It did have a mane. They do have manes, but
I only have positive to say about Bettina.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
she's a sweetheart.
Yeah. I like her.
She's
Yeah.
a sweetheart. I love her to death. Ever since I first met her, we have run-ins and little arguments about certain things, but cryptid related, but never personal or anything like that. But she's a great person, and she has her own channel too as well. And Crypto Normal Encounters
Hmm.
on Facebook, and I'm hoping, and that's what I want to talk to her about. Also, B, the other day I you know sent her a message that I want to talk to her about some things. I'm wanting to talk to her about maybe starting her YouTube channel because Facebook has really done her wrong on kicking her out, kicking her guests out, making the screen blurry, and all kinds of stuff, man. And
Yeah. I
I'm
saw
just
that.
I'm just wanting to let her know that she should go to YouTube, so she wouldn't go through all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question from Perry Nat Kemper. He says, any audio, video recordings made or pics taken of them?
None,
No. Oh, okay, okay, okay.
none.
Well, yeah, because you were really young when you lived there, right? That's the thing.
Right? Yeah,
And
yeah.
now that you went back, it's like there's. So you haven't seen any activity ever since you went back, at all?
Um, the last time I was there was about 2 months ago. Well, about 6 weeks ago, and I heard an airplane sound when there was not an airplane around, and that went on for I don't know how long. But again, all this stuff is really things I don't think anything about because they've just always been there.
Right. Voltron, my good buddy Voltron, he's a big time supporter, man. Love the guy.
Mhm.
He he's asking, have they ever offered him any type of food or items for him at any time? Did they
No,
ever offer anything? No, because there's a lot of
no,
stories where they offer, like
yeah,
food, like a dead deer, or rabbit or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Yes, I remember you telling me that you went on B show not too long ago. Yes, 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 yes. You
Yeah.
said, is Benjamin the guest? Yes, yes. B, he's the guest, and he told me that he went on your show a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, he did tell me that. So well, that's awesome. That's awesome, Ben. I really appreciate it, man. Everything you've answered tonight and all that you've told us, about the property where you lived for many, many
Yeah.
years, 30 something years, right? Or close to 40?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, off and on for 46 because
Wow.
that's where I grew up. I'm 46, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, moved back there a few times, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, 46, and it's my property now. So
Right.
46 years basically. Yeah.
Wow. Cool, cool, cool. Let me ask you something. Do you have any neighbors in the surrounding area? Let's say
I
maybe a mile or
do.
two?
I've wondered about that myself.
To see
The
if they've
lady,
ever seen anything, you know what I mean?
yes, because I don't know how the lady next to me wouldn't have seen it. She's got a pretty big garden in her backyard, and I know they stopped there because they would have to because it's on the trail.
Mm.
And I would love to ask her if she's seen it, but where we live is so out in the middle of nowhere that you
Mm.
don't talk to your neighbors. I mean, there's just it's so isolated.
Well, yeah, I mean, if especially if they're far from your property, like say, because
Yeah,
what you're describing is like they're big properties and they're all like away from each other, right? So,
yeah,
what's your
exactly.
nearest neighbor? Maybe 2 miles away or something? Maybe.
Well, she's closer than that, but she
Mm-hmm.
likes her privacy and she's old, and I
Oh,
feel really strange about knocking on her door.
you know what?
And
I bet you she's seen a lot of things that she might
I
not want to tell
bet
anybody.
she has to, yeah. And I
Mm-hmm.
doubt she wants to tell anybody either. Because my parents never even talked about it within the family,
Mm-hmm.
much less outside the family. So, yeah,
Right. Yeah, it's kept hush hush kind of thing because, evidently, people don't want to be ridiculed, or lose their jobs and stuff like that. I know,
yeah,
I get
exactly.
it, I get that. But why
Yeah,
don't they tell their closest relatives, their closest friends? You know what I mean? Maybe keep it within a small circle. Maybe
yeah,
their neighbors. Like, hey, be careful because that's all
yeah.
there is. Something like that, something along those lines. And that's why I
I
was
think
asking
if they
about the
would have
neighbors.
been, yeah, I think if they had ever caused anyone a problem, we would talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I
So
think what happens in places like Bray Road and in LBL is you get a rogue who's
hmm
just as overly aggressive as the ones on my property are docile.
right,
Um,
they're not
and
aggressive. Exactly.
yeah, so
Yeah.
then if it does happen like on Bray Road, everybody hears about it. So
hmm
this
Exactly.
species, this species has some sense and wants to survive. So they're
Right.
not causing a ruckus when they don't have to.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, those are the good ones. You know what I mean? It's like us humans. There's good people. There's bad people. You know, there's crazy people. There's whatever, introverts. You know, whatever. But
Yeah.
these seem like they were you know the good kind of pack of dogmen. I have a question from B. She says, "Would you like to have another encounter, or would you like to see
I
one
mean,
again?"
I'm kind of indifferent. On the one hand, I would like to know more about them, considering I've lived with them for 32 years and didn't really know what I was seeing until the past year. Um, on the other hand, they've never caused a problem, and I don't want to cause them problems. I don't want people to go looking for them. I don't want people to go hunt them or cause trouble or do any of that. They're okay the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, I'm kind of indifferent. I would like to know more about them, but at the same time, they're not harming me. I'm not harming them, so I'm indifferent.
Okay. There's another question from my buddy Abe. He says, "Any native land there?" That's a good question.
Uh,
Thank you, Abe.
that is a good question.
Yeah.
Where we live in West Tennessee was kind of one of the parts of Tennessee where the Indians did not live. Apparently, they traveled through our area some, but they never really stopped. And about an hour from us, there's Pinson Mounds, where there's like the biggest Indian mounds in the country.
Okay.
And about an hour east of us, Chickasaw and Cherokee live. But no, there are no native lands.
Not close to you, right?
Not close. Not on the property at all.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the closest ones are about an hour away.
About an
So no,
hour. Okay.
yeah.
Well, there you go, Abe. There's your answer, which is a damn good question, if I might add. B is asking, is he still traumatized by his experiences?
Kind of. Not from seeing them. They've never caused me any problems. I'm fine with the dogmen. Um, what I'm not fine about is that something exists that's not supposed to. And again, I'm fine with the dogman, but I'm not fine with the fact that I regularly see something I'm not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me wonder how much deceit is there really out there. If there's a species I'm familiar with, and I've seen more times than I've seen a coyote or a mountain lion, and I've seen them both. Um, the fact that I regularly see something that's not supposed to exist.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. Do you think it might have been always the same clan migrating through there when you saw them, or do you think it might have been different ones?
Well, the one I call Sammy, I've seen repeatedly, so I know
So you
that the
know
same.
that's the same one. Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. Do you recall ever seeing any different type ones besides the Sammy clan?
No, all of the ones I've seen look pretty similar in terms of their biology, in terms of the way they're built and the way they
Mm.
walk, their general behavior. I think I've only seen one species.
Hmm. Hmm. So yeah, so you kind of already recognize them when you see them, right? That's what you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
You recognize their pattern, their walk, their everything. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, B says, yeah, once you see them, it changes your whole life. Yes, I completely agree with that. Um,
That's why I was in denial for years because
oh,
it's one thing to
hmm.
to question the spiritual world. It's another thing to question the physical world. Um, so yeah, it changed my life when I started acknowledging what I was seeing.
Yeah, of course, it would change anybody. I think if I just love the topic so much, I would like to actually have an encounter one day. But yeah, I know that's a long shot. But if I did have an encounter, I know for a fact that would have changed my outlook on life and everything in my life. The
Yeah.
way I would do things, the way I would see things, the way I would continue living
Hmm.
my life, and more precautious, and and all that comes with it, and of course the PTSD. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
you would have to deal with that. Yes, but yeah, like B said, seeing something that is not supposed to exist. Yes, of course, that's mind bending or mind traumatizing.
Oh,
To see
yeah.
something. It's like it's like me when I first started seeing this stuff, like back in 2015.
Hmm.
I was like, no way, there ain't no way. They I grew up I grew up with everyone saying monsters don't exist, and the werewolves and vampires were fake, and it was just make believe and blah blah blah, just to kind of have a scary story in Halloween. And
Yeah,
then I run into the Dogman encounters with Big Cundiff in 2015. I'm like, what the hell? And
yeah,
you
and
know
that's
that
where it
sparked up
gets.
my interest, and I was like, what? So I just started binge watching the whole damn thing. He had like 200
Yeah,
and something episodes. I binge watched that like in maybe 3 or 4 months, dude. And that's like
yeah, yeah,
2 years worth, one a week. That's like 2 years worth already, and I did that like in 2 3 months, maybe three.
yeah, yeah, and that's where it gets
I
really
was blown
strange.
away. I was blown
Yeah,
away. Yeah, I started listening to like I would listen to like maybe 2 or 3 a day. I'm like, damn, this is crazy. I can't believe this.
yeah, because it makes
And
you wonder what's possible about the universe.
mm-hmm.
If you know that this is not even just possible, but you know for sure it happened, it makes you
Yes,
start wondering what else is
exactly.
possible about the universe I live in.
Exactly. Thank you. And you know what? That's how I figured it, because I always believed in aliens and UFOs, right? Because when you're a kid,
Right.
you love watching those type of movies, right? ET for example, that was the
Hmm.
very first one that like, wow, okay. But after a while, more realistic movies started coming out, and I was like, wait a minute, are they trying to tell us something? As I was growing
Yeah.
up as a teen, and then when I turned, what was it? So I basically believed before I even saw one, you know, and which is I'm the
Hmm.
same way with cryptids. I believe before I see one, or because I've never seen one really, but I believe in them
Yeah.
because I know someday I might run into one. So the UFO thing was the same thing. I believed in UFOs. I started researching. Back in the day, I used to go to libraries and research there. Books and
Hmm.
magazines and stuff. Same thing with Bigfoot and Loch Ness monster back in the day when I was young as a kid, maybe teens or so. But like in the mid '80s, early '90s, something like that. That's when I really started researching all that, and we didn't have
Hmm.
good internet back then, and it was just library, like I said. But I really believed in them, and then my first UFO sighting, happened in the year, what was it, 93,
Yeah.
93, and I'm like, I seen it. I looked at it with my own eyes. I like, thank you. I knew they existed.
Yeah.
So I was right. I had that good feeling, and I knew they existed. And there you go. There's my proof. That was my first sighting. I had three
Yeah.
total. I had one in
Yeah.
'93. I had one in 2000, and I had one in 2013. Almost 10 years apart each.
Yeah.
But that's where I started believing in them even more, because and I
Yeah.
was happy. So this Bigfoot, Dogman, all this, when it comes out to the light, and they finally come out with a good proof, me and all my cryptid buddies are gonna go, yes, we knew it existed. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's that type of feeling. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I feel like they are real, just like the UFOs that I believed in before I actually saw them. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But okay, man. Well, I know we've been for an hour and a half. So that's what I was shooting for, and I know a couple of people showed up a little late or whatever,
Mhm.
and but even then, thank you for showing up, even if it's
Thank
late.
you.
Thank you, B, and thank you,
Thank you.
Ricky Castro, and Noogie, DJ Noogie. Thank you all for showing up. That means a lot to me, man. Thank you, because those are my cryptid familia.
Mhm.
So, is there anything like closing comments that you might want to add, as far as people going out in the woods carelessly, or wanting to go out there and look for that damn thing and trying to kill it, because that's a big no-no, by the way. But do you have
Other
anything
than
you might want to?
no, no, not really. I'm not going to tell people what not to do, other than not to go out and kill it or cause problems for it, because Everybody's a product or a victim of their experiences, and my experiences have been that it's less aggressive than a black bear, which is not a very aggressive animal at all. Um, so I don't know. I can't really tell you anything. I can't say nothing will happen to you, but I can tell you for sure that your chances are much better of nothing not happening to you if you are respectful towards it and don't bother it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Great advice. That's great
Yeah.
advice, Ben. Thank you for that, man.
Thank you.
And yeah, like the people that came in, later, they're saying that they're going to go back and watch it from the start. Thank you
Okay.
guys. Thank you for that. So yeah,
Okay.
because Benjamin did have good explanations and good details about his encounter and his property as well. So yeah, definitely go back and check it out. And I know the people that watch it after the live, they're gonna enjoy it as well. So thank you everybody, and we're about to wrap it up. Thank you for coming out tonight, showing out, showing love, showing support. Thank you, Voltron. You're my boy, dog. Thank you, man. And Ruthie, B, everybody, Aunt Rocks, everybody. If I forget anybody, because I'm looking at the very last people that are on the comments. Abe from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Thank you all for showing up, guys. Richard Reed, thank you. And I love each and every one of you, man. Thank you. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please, I urge you to subscribe, because I do want to get to 1,000 members or subscribers as fast as I can, because that way I can start, doing more things. I can start doing more things. I can start going live directly with YouTube. A lot more things. Monetize, of course, but that's not the main thing. It's just I want to get there, because I think the channel would be a lot better. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and I'll see y'all next time, man. Thank you very much. Thank you, Benjamin. I don't know. I guess you popped out. Maybe your computer or something, but thanks anyway. Thank you, Benjamin. And thank you, everybody, for being here tonight, man. Thank you. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, guys. Much love. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Oh, and stay tuned, because I got another Dogman encounter soon. And y'all can't miss that one. I'm telling you, you cannot miss that one. That's got more encounters in it. That's all I gotta say about that. And you're gonna be blown away. So yeah, make sure y'all tune into next show. Which I'm thinking I might have him either next week or the following week. But yeah, definitely. And I got a lot more people lined up as well. So thank you all. Thank you guys. Much love. Peace out. Thank you from Carlito. See y'all next time. Thank you, Voltron. Thank you. Thank you, Ruthie. All right. See y'all later. See y'all on the next one, guys. Love you. Peace out. Bye.